Here's an equation that adds up to big savings. Let's do the math. Get Xfinity Internet and Xfinity Mobile together. That equals awesome in-home Wi-Fi and the best LTE on the go. It's the ultimate coverage solution. Plus, save hundreds of dollars a year on your wireless bill with Xfinity Mobile. It's basically the perfect equation. Xfinity makes saving simple, easy, awesome. Go to Xfinity.com/savebig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Wireless savings compares to averages of top providers.
Hello there and welcome into Week 5 of the NFL season. I can't believe that we are already here. It feels like just yesterday we were getting ready for the start of the season, and in the blink of an eye, it's already Week 5. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought it? Whatever tense of that word you want to use, I know what you're saying. Welcome in to the Consistently Cashin podcast, a member of the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast Network. And of course, you can always catch this over at BigGuyFantasySports.com. And as always, there is the Consistently Cashin article as well that you can get, where Ron Rigney and I go ahead and give you our FanDuel and DraftKings lineups for the weekend. It is part of the VIP subscription, but you can get $5 off with the promo code CC2019. Once again, CC does not stand for Colby Conway, so if you prefer Ron's lineups to mine, if you figured out whose are whose, it's not CC 2019 for Colby Conway, it's CC for Consistently Cashin 2019. Once again, they get you $5 off your VIP subscription over at BigGuyFantasySports.com. Usually I have Ron Rigney on Twitter at TheRealMade here with me this week, but due to some scheduling conflicts, I will be flying solo on this Friday evening. Yes, typically we do record Saturday mornings. However, some scheduling conflicts got in the way. I have a work event, so here I am coming to you Friday night with some, consistency thoughts, who we should get in our lineups this weekend, and overall what the DFS landscape looks like in Week 5 and how we can use consistency to build, obviously, some consistent lineups and get in the green this week and win some money and build up those bankrolls a little bit. So I'll go through the normal agenda that we normally have here on the show. You'll just have me the whole time. So I completely understand. Ron's not here. Ron's a big selling point. Totally get that. But I'll go ahead and give you my thoughts here. But you can always find Ron's thoughts in the article. He still got me his plays for the week, his lineup, so it's all good. Once again, that is in the article over at BigGuyFantasySports.com. So I'll get it started here with games that I'm targeting. I'm going to go one near and dear to my heart here. Houston, Atlanta. Not a really big number in terms of the over-under that Vegas is putting out there. Looking at it now, it's 50, so it has crept up a little bit in recent days. But there's just a lot of good things here. Houston secondary can't cover Tupperware. I mentioned that on Twitter at some point this week. So Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, certainly great options. In my lineups, you'll see an Atlanta stack that I expect to be rather chalky throughout the week. But on the Houston side of the ball, too, the Atlanta secondary isn't much better without a true number one corner. Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, all should be in play this week. And while this isn't the most intriguing game, considering that the teams are a combined 0-7-1, there's a lot of interesting pieces in that Cardinals-Bengals game, looking at Larry Fitzgerald, Keyshawn Johnson. Go to Cincinnati side of the ball. Tyler Boyd figures to be a target hog. Arizona hasn't stopped a tight end all year, and it feels like they're allowing 100 fantasy points per game to the position. So it could be a Tyler Eifert week as well. Those are two really interesting games. There are some other on the slate as well, but those are the two that really catch my eye in terms of not only, valuable fantasy production, but also just some guys at really reasonable price points that could put up pretty big days for our lineup. And at those price points could allow us to get a couple more studs in our lineup. But games that I'm avoiding this week, that Bills-Titans game, I don't like it. I just don't like it for either side of the ball. Looking at the over-under provided by Vegas here, we're looking at 39.5. A bit ugly. I'm not going to lie, it's a bit ugly. If I wouldn't want any of those Tennessee receivers because Buffalo's pass defense is very good. We saw what they just did to New England and Tom Brady, so what the heck is Marcus Mariota going to do? Bill's side of the football, I guess, if you wanted to get some action there, maybe Josh Allen. The pieces I like the best in this game, honestly, the defenses. I like Buffalo's defense. I like Tennessee's defense. I can't speak for much more past that. I'll move away from the games here, and I'll just get into some of my players for the week. So favorite high price guy, I'm going to keep it straight and simple with you here. I'm going Julio Jones. It's so hard not to get him in any lineup this week. I expect him to be chalky. I'm fully ready for a very high ownership of Julio Jones. But then again, if he's going to get me 20 plus fantasy points, I don't care. I want that in my lineup. Looking at it here, you can find my write-up in the article about Julio Jones, really. However, looking at it here, 75% consistent to start the year, 3 out of 4. That's good enough for me. Houston defense has allowed the 7th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers, aka only 6 teams have allowed more, so a fifth of the league. So take that for what it's worth. And also, his primary adversary likely figures to be rookie Lonnie Johnson Jr., and he's also banged up a little bit. So, rookie corner, banged up a little bit against one of the best wide receivers in the league. Julio Jones is going for 20 plus fantasy points in this game. It's on FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever, both sites. He's going for 20 plus. You can book it. As a Texans fan, I can say it. I have sheer confidence in saying it. And you, if I'm saying it, you should definitely be looking to get that in your lineup. I'm sticking with the wide receiver position here for my favorite mid-price guy of the week, and it's Alshon Jeffrey. He's really only played in 2 games this year, and he has a clutch game in both of them. And, we talked about the Houston defense being bad in terms of covering opposing wide receivers. The New York Jets, there's only 2 teams that are allowing more fantasy points per game to opposing receivers this season. Jeffrey's averaging 7.5 targets per game this year in the 2 games that he's played at least 80% of the snaps, and now he gets this great matchup. You'll check out if you also have the VIP subscription, you'll get the access to the prop bet article that Bob Lung and I put together each week. But you'll see one of my best bets here is Carson Wentz over 1.5 touchdown passes. I figure at least one of them, if not both, maybe 2 of his 3 touchdown passes, they're going to go to his big-bodied receiver, Alshon Jeffrey. He looked out of sorts the last time we saw him, but I expect him to be back and be much better this week. Alshon Jeffrey, 80 yards and a touchdown, seems very feasible this week. We're going to drop down a little bit, low-price guy. I mentioned it earlier. I don't really feel great about it yet. However, I'm going to ride the narrative, and I'm going to go with Tyler Eifert. That Arizona Cardinals defense is so bad against covering tight ends. Hopefully Eifert can move out to the slot a little bit, because that's where it appears that tight ends have done the majority of the damage against this defense. But Tyler Eifert, at the very least, should get plenty of targets in the red zone, and that's where he's typically at his best. But looking at his numbers this season, his best game was week 1 when he had 5 grabs for 27 yards. There's a little bit of risk here. However, if you can build your lineup with some of those more consistent options, I certainly don't mind dropping down in price and taking a guy like Tyler Eifert. This is the true test here this week with that narrative of start your tight ends against the Arizona Cardinals. If Tyler Eifert can put up a respectable fantasy day against this Arizona defense, I'm pretty confident that most tight ends in the league are going to be able to do quite well against this defense. And for what it's worth, it was all the way back in 2015. His lone game against Arizona's career, 3 catches, 2 of which were for touchdowns. So if we can get that sort of line again, 3 for 22 with 2 touchdowns, it's not great. However, that gives us at least 3 times the salary. And at that point, you're happy. At a pretty low price, that sort of production, it's fine with me, and I will certainly take it. As we introduce new this season, we do have our building blocks. What's one guy you want in your lineup that you basically, every time you come with a lineup, you're going there, and it's hard to go away from it. And for me, it's at the quarterback position, and it's with Matt Ryan. 4 for 4 in clutch games to start the year, and again, Houston defense. And, you want to look at the numbers. Oh, Houston's defense against the pass isn't too bad. 2 of those games were against Gardner Minshew and Kyle Allen. They kept him in check. Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, future Hall of Famers, carved him up. And I think that's going to happen here again. I don't expect Devonta Freeman to have a huge game on the ground, and I really do think the Atlanta plan of attack here is going to be, we're going to come in here, we're going to air it out, and we're going to go. Could Matt Ryan throw for 400 yards in this game? I certainly think he can, and I think this game has sneaky shootout potential. After a really bad week last week, Bill O'Brien took a lot of heat. We'll have to see if they just come out slinging, and if he comes out with an aggressive mentality, this Houston offense can score points. if we can get Houston leading, let Matt Ryan play from behind and air it out, he will have success against that secondary, and we could see him throw for 400 yards in this game. Matt Ryan is my Week 4 building block. And before we wrap it up here, of course, it's everyone's favorite segment, the one everybody talks about, and I'll go ahead and ring the bell there. But it's time for my Week 5 bold prediction, and it's going to be a guy that I'm going to have in my lineups. I've mentioned it a little bit here, so I'm going to stick with it here. I'm going to go with Julio Jones just because I have so much exposure to him that I have to do it here. 150 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. That's what it's going to be. My Houston Texans are still going to win the game, so I'm going to be happy. About Sunday around 4:30, I'll be happy. And I'll be even happier when I see in my lineups that Matt Ryan and Julio Jones have put up good fantasy days and led me to cashing with these lineups, and we'll keep these lineups consistently cashing. So once again, Julio Jones, $150 and 2 touchdowns. A little chalky, but I like it. Next week, we should be back, both me and Ron Rigney at The Real Made on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Colby R. Conway. But we'll be back in the saddle here. We'll be back just as normal is, how it normally is. We'll get back here in about 25 minutes of, hard-hitting analysis. But in the meantime, till we get the boys back, or I guess in this case it's the boy back, get Ron back here, and, both of us here, go ahead and check out all the great content over at BigGuyFantasySports.com. That VIP subscription is your key to winning prop bets, key to winning your seasonal leagues, key to winning DFS. Everything you could want is over there. A lot of great writers, a lot of great content. And once again, promo code CC2019 get you $5 off that VIP subscription. So once again, you can find me on Twitter at Colby R. Conway, and we look forward to seeing you in Week 6, hopefully a little richer, hopefully just as consistent.
Let's do some easy math. Xfinity Internet plus Xfinity Mobile equals awesome in-home Wi-Fi and the best LTE on the go. Switch to save big on your wireless bill. Simple, easy, awesome. Go to Xfinity.com/save big, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit today. Restrictions apply.
Loyalty is all about being there. Day in, day out. So AAA thanks you for being there with loyalty rewards. Like when you get savings on AAA auto insurance just for being a AAA member. And when you switch to AAA auto insurance, you could save more based on how long you've been a AAA member and how long you've had your current insurance. Insurance that's not just insurance. Learn more about AAA auto insurance and loyalty rewards. Click now or visit AAA.com/insurance.